In a world where you can be anything, be pink.
Are you ready to transform your golf game and life to amazing? Learn with us on the Be Pink podcast hosted by Presley Pickron and Sarah Cordova. Hey guys, welcome back to the Be Pink podcast. I'm your host, Presley Pickron, with my co-host, Sarah Cordova.
Hi.
Before we get into anything today, we want to go ahead and ask you guys to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to follow all of our social media down below so you guys can join our hive and you guys don't miss out on anything. In our last podcast, we talked about the I, the information, and instruction and how important it is. And at the end of our podcast, I went ahead and I talked about how 50% of our days are going to be good and 50% of our days are going to be bad. And I think it's such a great introduction into our N. Now, N talks about never tell yourself what not to do. But it's kind of has to do with your thinking. Now, this has to do situational. This is to a specific event, whereas positive thinking is a global type thing. It should be a habit for everything. Now, how would you say you practice situational positivity, telling yourself what to do and all this kind of stuff?
Okay, so I take the N and put a little twist in my own mind, and I tell myself to not focus on the negative. And a way I do that within my pre-shot routine, because the pink acronym is going to help us with our pre-shot routine and how we set ourselves up for success, is one of my coaches taught me a thing, because I would always explain my shots. When I would mess them up, I would say, I feel like there's 1,000 things running through my mind. Like, I'm thinking about chicken nuggets. I'm thinking about if I can take a nap after this, or when am I going to be done? Or oh my gosh, I have this assignment due, and I'm not even focusing on my shot, and I'm so like all over the place. And then when the time does come, the only thing I can really focus is the big blinking red light of, oh my gosh, don't mess up. There's a lake in front of you, or there's a huge bunker that you might not be able to carry, or there's desert to the left if you don't hit your shot straight or right, or however you see it when the shot comes, is to really hone in on your mindset and calming it down. And a way that I calm my mindset down and to not focus on the negative is doing this little thing that I call a think box. So what I do is I tee up my ball, I pick my line, but once I do that, I draw an imaginary line and I take maybe about 5-10 yards steps back away from my ball, and I do my practice swings there. And I call that my think box because it allows me to really kind of get all the
just to clear your head.
To clear my head, thank you. And really let out everything that I'm thinking about and just give my mind time to run loose. And once I finish my 3 practice swings that I do every single time, exactly the same every single time, I step out of my think box. So I'm in my think box when I'm doing my practice swings, but then I go up to my ball and set up to my ball. And once I'm out of my think box, I allow myself to stop thinking. I tell myself, all right, you're going to hit the ball, you're going to swing and hit the ball. And no, I don't give myself time to second guess. I don't give myself time to think. I mean, I don't do that if I'm like really second guessing my shot, but being in my think box gives me time to let go of the negative thoughts. And then once I step up to the tee to hit my tee shot, I just hit it and go.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I was taught to use a think box too, but in a situation where I really use a think box is in bunkers. I struggled in bunkers for the longest time. I didn't even take a practice swing outside the bunker. I would go in and I'd tell myself this is not getting out and I need 3 strokes in order to get this out. And it was such a bad habit. I told myself I focused on the negative, and lately I've been taking my think box outside of the bunker. I open up my face, I put my club in the right position in between my feet, I do all the right things, I swing. While I'm in my think box, I tell myself what the ball's going to do. So I give myself a landing spot. I try to figure out the rollout, try to see if I can get underneath it enough. And then when I'm in the bunker, like you said, I'm not thinking. I'm letting my body do what it knows how to do. Muscle memory, I'm not too stressed. I mean, I almost know what's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I mean, you can always forgive yourself. But you're kind of imagining what's going to happen, so you don't even have to worry about your shot at the moment. You're just hitting the ball, right? Now, to kind of relate this to life, when you're riding a bike, and you are on a canal and you're looking at the canal, you're gonna fall into the water, and you're gonna get a little top heavy and you're gonna fall because your weight and everything is looking into the canal. So what I love to say, and my dad taught me this, is you're gonna become what you look at, right? So if you are on the tee box and there is a huge lake to the right, and you're looking at it and you're telling yourself, don't go in there, the lake's there, that's like it's constantly in your head, I can guarantee you 99% of the time you're going to end up in the water. Now, actually, I'm going to let you talk about it because you mentioned this to me about acknowledging it but not focusing on it. So tell me what you mean by that.
Exactly. So I read this book a long time ago, recommended to me by a coach. It's called Golf is Not a Game of Perfect. And one of the biggest things that I took from it, and I still apply to my golf game today, is to train your swing and train and practice and do everything you can to a certain extent. But at some point, you're going to have to trust it. So you got to train it and then trust it. And to do that, like I said, it also applies with my think box. I acknowledge in my think box, when I'm in my think box, I acknowledge that there's a lake out there. But once I step up to the tee box, I'm not just focusing on the lake. I've already acknowledged it. I've picked my line, and I'm just going to hit it.
And I bet your line is not even close to the water.
No, not at all. It's just acknowledging that it's there so you can be smart and use the information that the course is giving you.
Yeah.
So you don't pick the wrong line, but it's just kind of.
Yeah. So there's this story that there's 3 race car drivers and they're getting hired for some job. And the first 2 were talking about how close they can get to the edge of this cliff. And one was like, I can get so close. And then the other one was like, I can even hang a tire off. And then the third one was like, I'm not even going to get close to that. And you can imagine the third one is the one that got hired. And when you say, I'm not even close to the water, that's just the story I think about, is just playing it safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you don't even have to think about the water too much. You're like, it would be amazing if I'm aiming this way and it still went in the water. Like,
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It's kind of like knowing what your skill set is and not trying to play the hero shot, because a lot of the times when you do play the hero shot and it doesn't work out the way you want it to, you almost start focusing on the negative because you're like, oh, I could have done this different shot or this different club and I would have played it safe. And then when you're walking up to your ball, you're just getting frustrated that you didn't do what you should have done. So I think it's definitely acknowledging that there's the option to do that, but it's playing almost the quickest and safest way out. Not the quickest and safest way out for every shot, but when you have something like the water or a hazard in front of you that you just want to get out and minimize your score from that.
Yeah. So in our last podcast, I talked about when you have a bad day, knowing yourself and knowing how to change it and how to flip it. I think that is also it fits underneath this category as well, because you could be having a bad day or something bad could happen to you. And you can sit there and focus on it, or you can know yourself, you can sit there and you can change it. And you, like, we kind of talked about this in the first podcast a little bit about giving people second chances, giving people even a first chance. I think that really fits in underneath this category. And I recently, like yesterday, had this where I just kind of wasn't feeling myself a little bit. And then I woke up, I went to the gym, I made my bed, I made myself some food, I did my laundry, I did my homework, and after that I was like, forgot I even woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So it's just like knowing those things about how you can change your thinking, I think is so important.
Exactly. It's like how I'm going back to acknowledging that there might be some trouble and some hazard ahead, but it's realizing that it's there, but it's what you do to kind of get around it and navigate through it. Like in golf, there's that, but in life, it's like you recognized you were not feeling your best and you're not feeling yourself. You're kind of feeling negative, but you did things that were kind of going to take you around that and get you through that. Well, although it is okay to be negative, like not negative, but like to go through the negative, but to not focus on it.
Yeah. I just, I guess growing up as a teenage girl, I'm kind of a little bit of a sourpuss, and if things don't go my way, I'm a little sad, and I hold on to it, and I hold on to grudges a little bit. And when I started implementing the pink, like, pre-shot routine, I started implementing not only in my golf game, but in my life. And ever since I've started to change my mindset where I used to just keep it the same, I've been so much happier.
Mm-hmm.
And like in my golf game and in my like everyday life, it's been awesome.
Exactly. I think the way you can kind of go about it is you can hit a bad shot or you can have a bad day, but it's not staying on that bad shot or that bad day forever. I give myself the 10-yard rule. So I say, for some reason, I just taught my tee shot. Well, actually, not for some reason. Taking it back to our last tournament on the tee box, I actually skied it and it hit a tree. And I could have just been like, oh, this is terrible. This is a bad hole. Like, my whole game is ruined. But I was only on the first tee. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself 10 yards. And once I get 10 yards up to my ball, I'm just going to forget about it and move on. So you can have those days, you can have those moments, but it's not focusing on it and not dwelling on it.
And to forgive yourself, right? Because you don't want to hold on to that shot the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm. So how do you forgive yourself whenever you do have a bad shot or a bad day?
So I'm definitely not perfect at this. I actually have a story. I hit someone's ball on accident. And I kind of held on to it for a couple holes. I'm going to be honest. I was so upset. I'm like, this is such like a beginner mistake and I'm a freshman in college and I just hit someone else's ball. Like, I was almost embarrassed. I was like, are you kidding me? I went up to this South Mountain coach and I was like, I just hit someone else's ball. I know it's a 2-stroke penalty, but I just wanted to let you guys know. I was so embarrassed because I feel like I've been getting all this instruction and information and all this reps and tournaments and all stuff, and then I messed up by hitting someone else's ball. So I don't want to say angry because I tried to keep my emotions pretty stable on the golf course, but I was just bugged. I was like, I really just let myself do that. So this is kind of a win for me. Now this kind of sounds a little stretched, but I totally let it go after 2 holes. Now, if this happened to me a year ago, it would have bothered me for 3 whole days. But after 2 holes, I actually kind of forgot about it. I kind of, when I told my coach, I made a little bit of a joke about it. And I'm not saying like you should joke about it and not take it seriously, because obviously like you should be learning from your mistakes. But to cope with it, I did a little joke and now it's completely fine. And now every single time I check the ball if it's mine. So I guess it's just everyone's different pace, I guess. I mean, I'm sure people out there are laughing and like, it took you 2 holes. You should have already done it. But I mean, that's just my own pace because I'm a little bit of like a strong personality. So I had a hard time letting it go. But I did eventually. And I'm proud that it only took me 2 holes, whereas others, I mean, it might be different. But
exactly. And I think something that can like apply in life is when it frustrates me, say for instance, whenever you're in traffic and you're just waiting for the light to turn green and you're the first one at the light and you don't realize it turns green and the car behind you is already honking, and then it bugs you that they're honking and you're like, oh my gosh, could you have waited 5 seconds, blah, 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 getting all mad. Are you going to like focus on that moment for the rest of your day and let it like lead your day? Or are you going to be like, all right, they just honked at me, whatever, the light was green, I may have waited 10 seconds too long, that might have frustrated them, and move on.
yeah.
It's like, are you going to drive away, or are you going to stay parked there and get even angrier?
Yeah.
So it's like just how you choose to deal with the negative each day in your life and not really dwelling or not focusing on it.
Yeah. And I think one of this letter will really change your mindset, which is huge in golf. I believe that golf is mainly in your head and very mental. So I think once you master, I mean, you're not going to master it, but you can definitely keep improving. I think that your scores will drop, your confidence will increase, and overall, I think you'll just become a better golfer.
Exactly. Well, until next time, always stay pink, do pink, and be pink.